Hello. Sometimes to find a little bit of a mystery, all you have to do is a little bit of research. But usually people just take the information as it is given to them, or these days the internet. But sometimes all it takes is a little bit of research, nothing deep. And today I'm going to give you an example. The country of Brazil. Brazil with an S, because it came from Portuguese. The Z, it's Anglo-Saxon. Brazil is Brasil. How did Brazil was called Brazil? If you go on the internet, all you see is that the Portuguese named Brazil after the Brazil wood, which the Portuguese found when they got there. They found all these Brazil wood trees. Brazil trees. Now here's the question. So the Portuguese arrived there, landed on the beach, had never seen that land, supposedly. Look at all these trees, identified some trees that they've never seen in Europe, and says, hey, look at this, so much Brazil tree, so much Brazil wood. Why don't we call this country Brazil? So you think they found all these trees, called them Brazil for some reason, and then decided to name the country Brazil? No. First they found the land, which eventually became a country called Brazil. Then they called Brazil to those trees, because they were those trees that did not exist in Europe, only in that land, or in the country of recently named Brazil. They called the country or the land that they arrived on Brazil. Why? I'll get to that. Only after they called the trees Brazil, didn't arrive there, saw all these trees. Oh, no name trees, trees that don't exist in Europe. Oh wow, so much Brazil wood. Well, look at these Brazil trees. Of course not. They were just trees. They had no name. The trees had no name. When the Portuguese arrived to the land you now call Brazil, they called it Brazil. But it had been decided before. Only after they called those fancy trees Brazil trees, because they existed in the newly renamed or named country of Brazil. Now, you see, but that's what you learn on the internet. The country is named Brazil because of the tree, the Brazil wood. No. Now, you know why the country is called Brazil with an S? Of course. If you switch the name around, it's Lizarbe. Brazil becomes Lizarbe. Now, what is Lizarbe? Let me give you a hint. I'll be right back.
Over the course of time, I've come across such a large amount of evidence from a wide variety of areas, which all points towards one theory, that in ancient times people from the old world reached
Wait for my return. Wait with all your strength. Wait till the pain is so overwhelming you won't see the autumn rain anymore. Wait for the wind to blow on the snowbanks. Wait till you can't stand the heat. Wait till the others become tired of waiting. Wait till you think I'm dead. Wait for me for another lifetime, for I will come back.
We bathe in the illusion that you will care for us. Your silence brings confusion, and the world goes bust. We fight for our survival, like some old sad cliche. Their failures have no rivals but shame. This is not a game. People suffering. This is not a circus. This is not a game. You scream for some explosion, then smother all fate's box. There's power in confusion to be gained. This is not a game. People suffering. This is not a circus. This is not a game. People are in pain. This is no illusion. This is not a game. This is not a
This is not a game. This is not a game.
You are dealing with something that has never occurred on this planet before.
This is not a game.
Contain the spread of misinformation.
This is not a game.
The pain is unimaginable.
This is not a game.
You can see him, and you cannot touch him. Do you understand?
This is not a game. 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 This is not a game.
What happened there?
happened after. All of it. All of it.
This is not a game.
We bathe in the illusion that you will care for us. Your silence brings confusion, and the world goes bust. We fight for our survival, like some old sad cliche. Their failures have no rivals but shame. This is not a game. People suffering. This is not a circus. This is not a game. You scream for some explosion, then smother all fate's box. There's power in confusion.
Russia had its own Pussy Riot moment. What do you think of Donald Trump's Pussy Riot moment?
Well, I don't know whether this would. English is not my mother tongue. I don't know whether I would be. I would sound. Decent. There are so many pussies around your presidential campaign on both sides that I prefer not to comment about this.
Oh my goodness, I wasn't expecting that.
This is not a game. People suffering. This is not a circus. This is not a game. You scream for some explosion, then smother all fate's box. There's power in confusion to be gained. This is not a game. People suffering. This is not a circus. This is not a game.
武田。
シュラちゃん。
リエちゃん。
シュラちゃん。
リエちゃん。2つの V が重なる時 V&V パワーが生まれた。需要競争肉体疲労時の栄養補給にボイ&ボイ誕生武田ボイボイ。
Il faut savoir que ceux qui nous observent de loin sont inquiets. J'ai vu et entendu et écouté plusieurs des dirigeants d'autres planètes. Ils sont très inquiets parce qu'ils s'interrogent sur la voie que l'Union européenne va poursuivre. Et donc, il faut rassurer et les Européens et ceux qui nous observent de plus loin.
Nice.
Il faut savoir que ceux qui nous observent de loin sont inquiets. J'ai vu et entendu et écouté plusieurs des dirigeants d'autres planètes.
One day it will be awful.
Every man dies. Not every man really lives.
So, why is this video called the Four Boys of Brazil? Four boys, four brothers. Michael, Azazel, Daniel, Gabriel. All is the four brothers. All is the same symbol. Pretty much all is the same story anywhere you go in the world. Today, we're talking about Brazil because I came across this documentary which was not made by us, so they're a bit lost. They don't know what they don't know what they're watching. They don't know what they're reading. They don't understand the symbols. And I'm going to show you a clip where they tell you, we see these symbols, but we don't understand. Including one of the symbols, it has the Azazel symbol times 4 brothers in Brazil. But when they try to explain things, they turn into 3.
Maybe it was a completely different culture 2,000 years ago.
Four symbols engraved on the stone. Four symbols engraved on the stone.
It has the Azazel symbol times 4. But when they try to explain things, they turn into 3. This is evidence that they don't know what they're talking about. You'll see on the wall there's the Azazel symbol, but there's 4 of these. But then when they go to explain more, for some reason they ignore the 4th. They just keep 3. Not their fault. These are they're just, they're trying to understand what it's impossible for them to understand, because they're not 72s. They're not aware of your information that we gave to you. So to them, number 3, number 4, number 2 is the same thing, but it's not. When you see 4, it's the 4 brothers. When you see Azazel symbol, it's Azazel symbol. But for their fun documentary, didn't even pay attention because they don't know. It's not their fault. They're just trying to make a documentary. Now, the four boys of Brazil. It could be called the four boys of China, the four boys of South Africa, the four boys of North America, the four boys of Europe, anywhere. It's the four brothers. Why? Well, the Caristos divide history into two separate situations. Before the crucifixion, and after the crucifixion. It doesn't have to be like that. There has been many important moments throughout human history. This one became, at least the Western world and the Christian world, the most important, the crucifixion. So, better to, when we're explaining things, to divide history in two than into 20, then everybody's lost. Oh, so there was 1534 before Christ and 3.
We do not grasp what crucifixion means if we don't understand this was intended to communicate horror. It was intended to communicate to people, don't try to challenge us, or you will end up like this yourself.
Crucifixion is a powerful symbol of terror and intimidation. Yet for millions of Christians, it represents redemption, hope, and eternal life.
I think one of the great historical ironies is the fact that the cross became adopted by the Christians themselves as a kind of symbol. To adopt the cross is to say back at the face of power, we won't be intimidated.
Just to make things clear, the Caristos divided at least the Western Christian side of history in two: before crucifixion, after crucifixion. So,
should I be frightened of dying? There's no reason for it. You've got to go sometime.
In this case, it's about the four brothers in Brazil. Could be anywhere else, like I told you. The Caristos, the four brothers, mainly three, but that's for another time, were all over the world. All over. That's why it doesn't matter where you go in the world, on this planet, this tiny, tiny planet. It doesn't matter where you go. You call it countries now, you can call it continents, regions. You always find the Azazel symbol. You always find the cross, the Caristos cross that the Templars, as Caristos Average, took upon them, because we were them, used it, and on and on and on. It does not matter if you go 16,000 years before, 10,000 years before, 3,000 years before the crucifixion, or after until today. The symbol is always the same. The Azazel symbol, which for many these days call it a rune, a Nordic rune. This existed almost 20,000 years ago, the so-called Nordic rune. When at that time there were no Nordics. Same thing with the cross. It's the Caristos cross, not the cross of the crucifixion. Happened before, existed before, kept on going after. This is a Caristos symbol, just like the Azazel symbol. Okay? So, if you do a little research, or don't do any research at all, because I've been showing you evidence of these symbols and writings for 15 years, it's everywhere. It's in the Muslim religion, Hindu, Buddhist. Symbol that's part of the social and cultural aspects of people or groups of people who say they're not religious. You can call it whatever you want. It's everywhere. In some places, areas, and social groups stronger than others, obviously, but it's everywhere. Everywhere. And today, I'm going to show it in Brazil, like I've shown to you throughout 14,000 videos. It's everywhere. You know, sometimes people say that you can learn anything, even if you're not that smart, but you can learn anything by repetition. What more do you want me to show you? I've shown you thousands of repetitions through all religions, all social aspects, all places, all regions, all cultures, everything. You will find the Azazel symbol, you will find the cross. At least by repetition, you should know it by now. What is the truth and what is not. So let me show you this these clips, and you'll see it once again. This time in Brazil, could be anywhere else in the world. This time is in Brazil. Enjoy, have a great weekend, week, and hopefully, if it must happen, I will have a quick death, not a slow, painful one. Nobody likes that, a slow, painful death. If I am to die because I live in a war zone, hopefully I have a quick death. But que será, será. whatever will be, will be. Ciao. Love you, some of you. And try to be happy. I'm not.
There are no accounts of a transatlantic expedition to Brazil at any time before Columbus. But not far from the coast, at Rio Paraíba, there is an archaeological site which could be extremely significant. The legendary Pedra do Inga. The rock is part of a huge natural monument. Countless figures and glyphs have been engraved into the monolith. Ever since their discovery, they have bewildered experts.
Here in Paraíba, a very long time ago, the Ataco Atará culture existed. Many engravings in stone remain from this period, such as here, of the rock of the Inga. But we don't know how these people thought or how they behaved. We simply are not able to understand the messages they've left. How were they created? Which people immortalized themselves at the rock of the Inga? It's a mystery. However, does it seem likely that the people who did this were not simple natives? Maybe it was a completely different culture 2,000 years ago. At an early stage, local archaeologists noticed that many of the petroglyphs on the rock of the Inga displayed similarities with writing from the Old World in classical times. I've studied this. Only similarities with individual letters were found, not with complete words. However, similarities were mainly with letters from a Celtic Iberian alphabet.
4 symbols engraved on the stone resemble letters from ancient European languages.
By now, you know the symbols, you know the signs, you know the letters, you know everything. So I leave this this last part for your knowledge, and it doesn't take a lot of knowledge. It just takes a brain, set of eyes, and you know what you're looking at. Worldwide, in this case, Brazil. Have a great weekend, week, and life. Cheers.
The ritual sites are decorated with paintings, and despite the tropical climate, since they are protected by the steep rock faces, they can still be made out quite clearly. There are figures in splendid costumes, crowned with clumps of feathers or wreaths of light. Another excavation also reveals a being with a magnificent headdress. In the Celtic mythology of ancient Europe, the god Cernunnos was depicted with similar antlers, as can be seen here on the silver cauldron of Gundestrup in Denmark.
Here we have an extraordinary image of a boat with a person sitting inside it. On the other side is a very simple, similar example.
Wait for my return. Wait with all your strength. Wait till the pain is so overwhelming you won't see the autumn rain anymore. Wait for the wind to blow on the snowbanks. Wait till you can't stand the heat. Wait till the others become tired of waiting. Wait till you think I'm dead. Wait for me for another lifetime, for I will come back.
Only the dead know the truth.